Call the meeting to order. Let's start with a moment of reflection.
Let us be mindful of the needs of all our citizens and advance only those causes that will ensure peace and harmony in our community now and always.
Land acknowledgement. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather today is the land traditionally used by the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Chinootan people. We acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge and philosophies of the Indigenous peoples with whom we share this land today. Are there any declarations of community interest in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, no minutes, no petitions. We're going to move right down to the Committee of the Whole. I need a motion that Council rise and go into the Committee of the Whole to receive reports and recommendations. Moved by Councillor Wagner, second by Councillor Herga. All in favor, and that's carried. Property and fire. Now Lori's not here, so I just asked. Okay. So the recommendation, fire apparatus replacement motion required. The recommendation, the Council of the Township of Wellesley accept the recommendation to approve the pre-budget purchase of a frontline pumper being replaced in Fire Station 52, 2671 Herger Road, St. Clements, Ontario. Can I have a mover for that? Councillor Wagner, second by Councillor Herga. And would staff bring that report forward, please?
Thank you, Mayor Nowak, and apologize to Mayor and Council for bringing you in during your summer break. We were kind of hoping to do this. I kind of figured this was coming prior to budget, based on some of the research we've been doing since spring. It's kind of come down to the truck that we've decided on. We'd like to go with. There's a limited number, and the indication of waiting until we came back to our meeting on the 26th. Can't guarantee that's going to be there. So just a little background. We had looked at when we got to needing to replace this pumper at one point going back a few years. One idea was that we would take this truck and let our used ladder, which is now 27 years old, that we would look at possibly purchasing what's called a Quint and run that as a frontline truck. And at that time, they weren't cheap, but they're, you could purchase one 2-3 years ago for $1.5 million. So when we started scratching the surface of that this year, the prices have gone through the roof. And the ones that we were looking at, we were quoted between $2.4 and $3 million, which is completely defeating the purpose of taking the truck out of service and going with the new apparatus. There's absolutely no savings to that whatsoever. So then we've just kept with our apparatus rationale that if we can, speaking with our fleet mechanic, we can keep the current ladder in service for another 4 or 5 years. We'll hopefully knock on wood for another great used one to put in the service. But that still leaves us with this pump, which was going to come to this budget in December. And then obviously things have changed. The political climate and what's gone on in the last few months has had a significant impact on the auto industry. And the universal messaging from all the dealerships is that the usual 4 or 5% increase in apparatus prices, we can expect a 10 to 15% increase. There's a new emissions engine coming in. I'm not an expert on the engines, but I believe it's called the Cummins L9, which is in most of our trucks. Has been discontinued. They're being replaced with a new emissions-friendly, environmentally friendly engine with a new price tag of approximately $85,000. And tariffs right now, the CBSA will hold off on police, fire, and EMS vehicles until the end of October. They'll guarantee that, and then after that, we're not sure what's going to happen. So what we've done in the past few months is something we haven't done before. Is because we've always tendered our trucks out, meaning that we have built the truck basically from scratch. We decided, what kind of wheels we put on there, what lights we put on there. We've bypassed that and just looked at going with stock trucks. So what they mean is it doesn't necessarily mean that they're built already. the engineered drawings are built. They have put them into their cycle of the queue on the line of the floor when they're gonna start getting built. And they have the chassis already, they're a standard chassis, we're not picking the same one. And we have very limited options. So, we've been able to go back and look at one of the big things that we wanted to look at was the front suction for, obviously for rural operations for drafting. We have that on our pumpers. There's not a lot we can do with that, but that at this point is our cheapest option to go with the stock truck. So, that's why we're looking at this, and that's why we're coming into this, is that if this was to go through, then we would put our marker on this, and it would go into production, and then we would lock that down. If we, in the report, it mentioned that if we do wait or even hold off, we're gonna be just paying $200,000 to $300,000 more for the same truck when we get there. We get the same price, and the prices are obviously not coming down. And the thing with this truck is that this is a frontline truck. It's our last one. This is the last frontline one to be replaced. The one from Wellesley was replaced in 2019. Linwood is good until 2035. And our recent asset management plan, we've taken our support vehicles, tankers, which we had everything at 20 years. We pushed them to 22 years. And when that time comes, if we have to, we can maybe go back another year. We don't probably want to go past 25 for insurance purposes on those type of things. But we're trying as much as we can to take a very obviously expensive industry. We have to provide it, but right now we don't have the brakes. Ideally, we're hoping, knock on wood, that sometime in the near future, all the lobbying that we've been doing with the government, that they'll be maybe introducing jet grants again or something, because at some point we're gonna have to do this type of thing. But in the meantime, that's why we're here tonight, to see if we can do that. That money is in there. Already it's been part of the capital planning. This has been our next big purchase coming up. That's been part of our apparatus plan that's been coming on. So what the ask is that we just move forward with that now for that budget item for 2026.
Okay, questions? Mr. Hurd?
The truck you're looking at has a side mount pump panel, is that correct?
It is correct. So that's one of the things, most of the stock models we found don't have transverse pumps.
Right.
Which is, I know preference, I mean, you have different firefighters that have worked on both. I know the preference for a lot of the firefighters is the top mount. One benefit of this is for station 52 is that you're gonna gain about 1.5 feet, 18 inches on the overall length. This truck is only 30 feet and 5 inches in a 1,200 gallon tank.
And what's the truck that's there now? Like,
I think Brad said it's 31 and change. For some reason, I thought it was closer to 35, but it's not.
you're 38, would you say 30.5? It's
366 inches.
That includes with the suction on the front?
That's the, so there were things that we looked at, for them to, like, again, there's not a lot you can do because it's already an engineered drawing. If they have to go after the drawing board, it changes everything. They can, with the engineered drawing and not affecting the length, they can add on the hard suction on the front. So, like pump 53 has, put it on the bumper, lock it down, already have the filter on it. So when you show up, you can just take it off and throw it into the porta tank. The hardcover on the pump bed, and the LED lights in the front of the upgrades, and then shelving and sort of thing is the type of thing we can change on it. But there's not a lot of other options though.
Do the firefighters at the station 52, are they in favor of the side mount pump panel, or?
We haven't polled all the firefighters. The people that have been on, we've been using the district chief and then Captain Cable and Nick with the mechanic. So we haven't got, usually the truck committees, we don't have
Right.
that many, just all of a sudden you get a lot of preferences and that sort of thing. It will be our first side mount, so it will be different. It, but. You know, that's gonna probably be the biggest change for everybody. But given where we are, and as long as it's not the departments that use side mounts, you know, we're gonna have to just get used to where we're parking and making sure our trucks are put at a different angle for firefighter safety and that sort of thing. So the pump panels on this one is actually a lot smaller than usual side mount. It's I got a cover on it, it's only about that big. So it's gonna be a little bit different. But lots of water, big pump.
Any other questions? Councilor
My only worry is that all this stuff going on in the background is just pushing us to make a decision before we have to, like, it's maybe the price is gonna go, maybe we're gonna get this, maybe we're gonna get that. This truck was due to be replaced next year. What was the life cycle at? Was it already
So-
at 20 years? What was it at?
It's going into it, so the reason it was gonna come to this budget. With the idea that what we have done in the past is tender them out. That process generally takes us 7 or 8 months. Then it has to go on to bids and tenders for 45 days. By the time we have a number of meetings with the truck committee, determining what we're gonna put on it. The last tanker that went into that station, we didn't sign the papers on that. From it being approved in the budget in December, we locked it down mid-August. And on the time you lock it down, that's the day you lock down the exchange rate, all that sort of thing. So in the past, our builds have been between 10 months and 15 months, and that would put us into seeing this truck in 2027. So one of the benefits of this is that it being a stock truck, we're actually gonna see it in the spring of next year. So the other thing with sort of part of your questioning is part of the overall apparatus replacement program, because this isn't the only truck that we have to replace. So between now, on the books, between now and 2035, the next frontline apparatus we still have 3 other large purchase trucks to make, which pushing back the dates gives us a little bit of breathing room. But if we push off, and that's just the problem coming in, there's nothing we can do. These things were purchased as they hit their 20-year mark. Everything kind of comes into this 20-year mark and year after year after year. And we're not gonna build that money back up to do that. This will actually give us that opportunity if we by pushing the tankers back a couple of years. And as long as we can keep the ladder in for another couple of years, we'll have a couple of years of breathing room. We have changed the rescue program, as you know, to much cheaper options for that. So that works out that way. So no, this was planned, this truck was planned for this time frame. We're not coming in and saying, oh, we're getting it, 2 years ahead of time. We're just doing this, and realistically, trucks haven't gone down. The last truck we put in, the tanker that we put in 22, that was a custom build. And that came in at $705,000 or $400,000. The last pump we did in Wellesley was $568. I'm pretty confident that we're not going to see the prices slow down, or ideally it'd be great if they did slow down and didn't start jumping at 10-15%. But that's way beyond our control. And really what we're doing is something that a lot of places are kind of scrambling to get in and get these things locked down before they become to the point where they're priced out of what municipalities can afford to do. Right, so does that answer kind of?
Yeah, so the current one is around the 20-year mark
Yes,
for
yeah.
replacement next year.
And when we put that back, so I think the last pump you replaced, when I came in here, you had replaced the last pump at 17 years. So we already did that. We pushed those back to 20 years to try and get that cushion already. We've been working on that 20-year mark, that 20-year on. And then even when we started doing the asset management plan, we've been looking at that and taking into account these costs, okay, so the tankers, you know, can we push those out for a number of years? Yes, we can. Right, if there's a house fire right in St. Clements, the first truck doesn't need to be the tanker out of there, like that's. We could use those as secondary vehicles. NFPA doesn't recommend that, but we do have to sort of be able to. Take that language and. Adhere as best we can, but also make work what. We can do, right, there's be a happy middle ground, so that we still. We don't put ourselves in too much of a liability, but we don't just get to the point where we're. Just getting rid of things that we don't need to get rid of. We're trying to find a happy middle ground, and I'm comfortable, very comfortable 20 years. You know, our ladder truck is for instance, that's 27 years old. I'm happy to take that to 30 years or more than 30 years. It works well. We use it at fires to reach roofs. It's not. If a fire and it doesn't start, we're not going to be held in a position as a municipality that someone's going to die in a house fire because our ladder truck didn't start. We have 3 frontline vehicles that we want to kind of keep time, and that's where we're at with this truck. That's the one that's coming to the 20-year mark. So, yeah, that's what's coming out, and we're hoping we didn't have to get to this. It's not a nice way to have to get a truck. It always is nice when we can build our own truck and make sure we're getting exactly what we want. I'm not unhappy with this truck, and from the perspective of the district chief from the station and the mechanic and everything, they're happy with everything that's on it. They're not, you know, we're not just accepting something just so we put something new in there. So I don't feel that that's what you're looking for.
Thanks.
Pretty sure it said in there, these are the last stock trucks that you'll get. Without, like next year, there'll be stock trucks, but they'll have the new commission.
Yeah, so again, I can't talk at the expert level of what a Cummins L9 means. Nick has explained it all to me, and I believe that's what's in this, what we have now. These that are coming in, I believe they're the last of the lineup to get rid of those. So the new ones come in. I'm not sure, Councilor, what the emission standard is. There was a big jump 2 or 3 years ago that took all the base price of all the trucks up when there was the first emission standard put on some of the trucks to make them more environmentally friendly. It had to do with the engine again and that sort of thing. I can't speak to that at any technical level. That's an expert, but this one is these current stock trucks. That's what they have. They're the last of that engine.
So next year they'll have stock trucks. They'll just have a different engine.
Oh, they'll always have stock trucks. Right. Absolutely. But again, the risk would be that, well, there'll be the increase of the engine. And then if we don't, again, nothing could happen based on the tariffs and then another 30-day reprieve. You never know what's going to happen. But if something does come onto that, on top of the exchange rate of the chassis, because every chassis is made in the States. The thing with this, even this, one of the reasons that we focused on this as a sole source is because at least everything in this is made in Quebec, except for the chassis. So once that's done, we're paying Canadian prices. We're putting Canadian steel and Canadian aluminum on it. It controls the cost a little bit. So even if trying to build, it turns out that there's 35% taxes or tariffs going to be slapped onto automotive stuff, we can bypass the bulk of that. Yeah, stocks will always be there, but they've always been that option of kind of get it for a little bit cheaper.
Okay. Any other question? Just one question. I just want the bottom line. So this truck is wait a second, I have it right here. 1.120. Or with
and then we put it like just for any equipment that comes on. It comes with some equipment. There's some equipment purchase we'll be making, and then any extra stuff that sometimes if we have to make any changes, and that's right in the contract too. That as much as they try to keep that, if there's any moderate changes, that gives us that if there's any over and under. So it'll be 1170.
No. The suggestion is that if we would wait till budget time to do this, we could be looking at $200,000-300,000 more. Is that?
Well,
That's the bottom
if
line.
we wait till December to approve this in December, and then the tariffs do come through. And then these particular trucks with the last engines that are gone, then we're getting a different engine. And we were to look at this next budget or put it off for the year, yes, we could easily be looking at $200,000 to $300,000 more for the exact same truck with the different engine. Which, based on what we put in for reserves, would basically just, that's what we put into a reserve, we basically be paying the increase. On that.
Okay, I think Rick wants to chime in as well. Rick?
Yes, thanks, Mayor Nowak. If council is inclined to approve the recommendation tonight, I'd like to see some wording added to the recommendation that was read to include the cost as well as the reserve is being funded from. I think we can just add that to the end of that recommendation. Just to make it a standalone resolution.
Could you repeat that, Rick?
If we could add the cost of the truck, or sorry, the total amount being approved, so the cost of the truck plus the equipment that Paul has mentioned, and add in that it'll be funded from the, I believe it's called the fire truck reserve.
Right.
Okay, just those two.
So Paul, what is that figure then? Is it 1.175 or 1.170500 plus
Correct.
50,000?
No, 120 plus 170 is the inclusive.
Okay, that includes your equipment that you want to add on to it.
Correct.
170.
175. 500.
Seven 1170 500.
Which includes the equipment, is
Yeah,
that correct?
Okay. Yeah. You wanna read that again, please?
That the council of the Township of Wellesley accepts the recommendation to approve the pre-budget purchase of a frontline pumper being replaced in Fire Station 52, 2671 Herget Road, St. Clements, Ontario, at the cost of $1,170,500, included extra equipment to be funded from the fire truck reserve, including extra equipment.
Including the extra.
Yeah, and any mod changes that.
Council, okay with that? That's a friendly amendment, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Let's call the question, all in favor? And that's carried unanimously.
Thank you.
That's well done. Okay, my work isn't over yet. We gotta just go back. Okay, I'll need a motion that the committee of the whole rise and council resume and report, moved by Councillor Wagner, second by Councillor Herget, all in favor. I need a motion that the report of the committee of the whole be adopted as set forth in the motions and actions detailed above, moved by Councillor Herget, second by Councillor Wagner. Favor, that's carried. No counts, no motion bylaws, so I need a motion that bylaw number 23, 2025 be read first and second time. Moved by Councillor Wagner, second by Councillor Herget, all in favor. It's carried. The bylaw 23, 2025 be read a third time, passed, and the American clerk to be authorized to sign and seal the bylaw under the corporate seal. Moved by Councillor Wagner, second by Councillor Herget, all in favor, and it's carried. Next meeting, August 26th, Councillor Wagner, you still have your adjournment